The next thing that I wanted to cover was, what do you need to do in training to prepare you for a distance event? I'm going to zero in primarily on the half or the full marathon, because the Missoula Marathon is our target. It's a wonderful event. I've heard from now about 100 people who have run this event over the years and have had a wonderful experience with it, with the possible exception of the first year. And I did hear from some that ran in that 90 to 100 degree heat. But I will tell you that, having been a race directors don't tend to have control over the weather conditions. And we have to take what comes, but that's not generally the case, that you're going to have that type of heat. But there is a rule of thumb for that. The rule of thumb, based on now having trained about 200,000 people that lived in the southern portion of the United States, yes, we deal with heat all the time, is to slow down 30 seconds a mile for every 5 degrees above 60. If you follow this guideline, you will be the one that will be strong at the end, and you'll avoid the penalty box at the end of races. That's the medical tent. We don't want to see anybody there, and you don't have to if you slow down enough and pour water over the top of your head so that you can get some evaporation, where you lose about 70% of the body heat that builds up in your body through the top of your head. So again, a rule of thumb that can give you control over your destiny. And it's very important that you slow down right from the very beginning. Now, have any of you heard of the term called the wall? Oh yes, we've got some discussion there in the background. The wall is a point of dread for most people who embark upon a half or a full marathon. And what it means is there might be a point in your runs where you go from feeling very tired but feeling like you could finish, to flat out knowing that you probably won't finish. And it's often within a few hundred yards. It's debilitating fatigue. Now, this never has to come to you if you do two things. First of all, you do the run, walk, run that's appropriate for you on that day. And I will also tell you that when the heat builds up, the pace will slow down 30 seconds a mile for every 5 degrees above 60. And then you have to adjust the run, walk, run to the slower pace. And that saves your legs and pushes you past the wall. But the other major training component that will get you past the wall is to have a long run that is long enough for the race that you're going to go after. If it's a half marathon and you're just trying to finish, then you really should be running 14 miles as your last long run, and that's what we do in our Galloway training programs. We get you the full endurance that you're going to need in the event. If it's the marathon, then the best preparation for finishing is doing a 26-mile training run 3 or 4 weeks before the race itself. Because what I've found in numerous surveys is that that wall tends to be within a mile, one way or the other, of your last long training run within 3 to 4 weeks before. You can hold your endurance for 3 to 4 weeks, and whatever that long one is, that's where the wall is going to tend to be. Again, you will avoid hitting that wall if you'll build the long run up to at least the distance of the race itself. There's a time benefit for that too. And we've studied this because we have hundreds of runners every year that will join our Galloway programs who used other programs that only had a 20-mile or so training run as their longest. And what we found is when people go from 20 miles as their longest run up to our 26-mile in preparation for a marathon, the average improvement is more than 15 minutes. Just that one training element. And if you think about it, it has to make perfect sense. If you've only run 20 miles, guess where your body is going to tend to give out? Right where you've trained at 20 miles. Well, we will go the full distance, and I found that to be the best preparation for finishing. But how many of you have run a marathon before and this time want to run faster? We've got several. That's good. The concept there is to actually push up the long run distance another 3 miles, because I found that those who used to run 26 miles but wanted to run a personal record and went up to our recommended 29 miles prior to their time goal marathon improved another 11 minutes. 3 more miles, 11 minutes of improvement. That's a pretty darn good return on investment. Again, these programs that I'm talking to you about, the concepts of this program that I'm telling you about, has been used now by over 300,000 people. And it works. And it works simply because you are doing your homework. You're preparing yourself for what you need to. You're also allowing your body to recover by having some breaks throughout every single run